Okay, so we're moving on to the 11th session. This is one that happened last night. The party actually goes inside the chart house that I mentioned in the last video after chasing down Vitalis and this hooded figure. So, they examine the chart house. There's upstairs, downstairs, even an attic. Just kind of searching around. Griffin... Skip was late, so Wendell was kind of holding down the fort downstairs. Alvaro's player had to leave, so it was pretty much just Linton, the mage, and Griffin, the bard. So they go upstairs. They're very carefully checking these 3 rooms. Pretty much all of the doors, because of how decrepit the house is, kind of fall in, or just, it's just terrible, terrible wreck. So, they check everywhere. There's even a hole in one of the walls in one of the rooms. So Linton goes up downstairs to check to see if maybe he jumped out the window to flee or something. And there's no imprints in the grass, just his, because no one really tended to that house. They planned on doing some things in there, but it's kind of some sort of building there, but it's kind of tricky because. I don't want to say too much, but I'll say this because I don't think my players watch these because they play them. It's sort of like historical point. So yeah. They even check the attic, and it's sort of like a hint, the fact that the doors keep falling in, because like if he's hiding in these rooms, that's typically what would happen. That's typically what would have happened. So they even check the room in which he went through the window, and yeah. So Griffin decides okay, well, I'm gonna check the fireplace. Okay. So he actually rolls so he's checking out the fireplace, rolls an investigation or perception, whichever one. Nat 20, him with foiling my plans. I love players. So he finds out that the fireplace. Okay, so the fireplace is right here, facing you, and there's actually, it has the flooring to it, except the flooring's fake. It's a metal plate. So he tries to pull it up, doesn't quite work, reaches up in there, because there's actually a soot catcher seemingly on the 2nd floor. So what he does is, he goes inside the chimney, shimmies up, pushes the soot catcher up, and as he does that, the metal plate goes up, so it goes up like this, and it covers up the chimney entrance, I guess you could say, where he entered through to actually get up in there. So they have to, kind of all shimmy up into the chimney at this point. And this investigation took a little bit, so that's why this session is going to be really short. So they all shimmy up into this, into this entrance. Griffin puts up a bolt so that way it stays open, and they just sort of kind of try and shimmy down. And then Griffin, after a while, realizes that this is quite a long fall. I told him to make a surprise strength check. He fails, he falls, everyone else kind of slides down with him. And yeah, so they end up in a dungeon below Rotherhithe, the town of Rotherhithe. And that's one thing that fun fact about the dungeon, it was created by a good friend of mine, Aaron Adams. Really, really good guy. Really, really smart guy. That's why the players, I probably will see if we're going to get TPK in the 12th session. So they go up into a side hall because it's a huge dungeon. So they go up in a side hall. They see some spike traps. They evade them. They're pretty good about that. And then they see another hallway, of course, dead end right here. Well, as far as I know. So they go up into this. They see another a pedestal at the end of this really long hallway, and they can't quite make out what's on it. So Wendell decides, okay, I'm gonna go on ahead and grab a torch just in case. So he steps forward, steps on a spike trap. Okay, so he passes his dex, he moves into the next square. Steps on another spike trap. Passes his dex, steps on another spike trap. Because, this is all like as if he's rolling into a different square or something. So, rolls in, moves to another square. Steps on another spike trap. Goes into, finally, the square with the torch. And that also has a spike trap on it. So, he rolls into another square. Finally, no spike traps. He evaded, 5 spike traps before finally getting that torch. Of course, he said, this could have all been avoided if I just would have pulled out the torch I had in my bag and stayed to one side of the hallway. And, I agree. But, he's like, and then he decided, wait a minute, why am I doing this? I'm just going to pull out my quarterstaff and tap along. I guess players don't quite understand the joke behind the 10-foot pole. It is actually really useful. So the fact that he eventually did it was good. I'm not doubting my players, love them to death, but that was funny. So he taps and finds out there's two in front of him, and then the rest of the way is clear. And he tells everyone else, follow my footsteps. Linton did not. He sort of did, and he kind of got down on the spikes. So he's bleeding out. They eventually just drag him off the spike strip, and bringing him back. So they're pretty successful in the rest of this hallway. So they make it to the end of the hallway, and there's just pedestal in this. Looks like Wendell identifies it as like a portion of an artifact, and Linton can decipher as much that it's affiliated with some sort of group, good, bad, in between. Can't really tell if it's cult, religion, anything. He really can't decipher it. No one else really attempts to. So, they check to see if it has like some kind of trigger mechanism. They don't really see any. And they grab it, and the wall closes behind them, and the room starts filling with water. Gave them 4 real-time minutes. My favorite thing is one of the players saying, "Hold up, I said there's no time to hold up. Go." And this is kind of a new concept for them, real time, because it's kind of hard to do online because we have connection issues and all this other stuff. But it worked out pretty well. The room ended up filling with water. Griffin, the android, is just sitting there on the bottom, like, okay. They eventually found out that behind the pedestal is a secret doorway. They break it open. There's another door at the end. They get through that. So they end up in this huge room. I do not remember the dimensions offhand, but it's massive. It really is. And they see this large, very, very, very large doors, and on the top is scrawled a riddle. Let's see if I can pull that riddle up. But just really, really huge room. And above the door reads, 4 faces guard the way to what lies beyond. Rabbit's reach is needed to reach the first. Behind false eyes lies the second. The third can be claimed by those that can breathe the water. The 4th face hangs above, awaiting its brethren. So they have one of these things that they could potentially coordinate with this riddle, or not even really a riddle. Just I'll leave them to decide that. And so Wendell, with this artifact, picks it up, places it into one of the holes. Arrow trap. Okay, and by the way, it's like, it's sort of a circular thing, and there's the 4 quadrants. And there's already one in the bottom left. So he places one, he places it in the first quadrant. Arrow trap. Takes a hefty amount of damage. Okay, takes it out. Puts it in the second one. Arrow trap is able to evade it this time. Okay, 1 logical space. Places it in an arrow trap. You get it. So he pulls out, and It was like they were pondering whether to take the one that's already in there out and put this one in, and they're just like, no, probably not. Well, Wendell's like, no, probably not, because he actually gets down by the third one. So yeah, they realize that if you get it wrong, it's trapped, or it's just trapped in general. So they go through a back hallway, go into a big empty room, realize it's dark the rest of the way. So they go along, so they're going this way, they see this room, they continue a little bit, then go up, and then into a huge room. And they hear these, it's like beast-like noises. So, like a bunch of them just against this one little thing. And it, like, that's sort of like this whole thing that's going on. It's like one of these little things that are just making these like scattered noises, and just a bunch of them just tearing. They can hear flesh. It's just this well, not really massive, but just this battle. So Griffin's the only one with dark vision, peeks around the corner, and it's 6 troglodytes just tearing apart an Ettercap. Ettercap's still fighting, but they're just being relentless with him. He's trying his best. He's clawing relentlessly. So the party, throws a torch in because Griffin realizes, okay, well, these things are from the Underdark. These things cannot take much light, and this room is pitch black. So they throw in a torch. It gives the the Ettercap some advantage. They take out the troglodytes, with the final one being just I feel bad for him. Basically, crit on a crossbow bolt, so he pinned him to the flooring. That bolt just stuck in. The Ettercap just sprayed him down with webbing, and the final hit being from Wendell. And so, the Ettercap actually walks up to Linton, who, by the way, I'll tell you something about this player after, and basically extends his hand to shake his hand. Was about to leave, puts up one of his fingers, goes back to the pile of troglodytes, which he was in the middle of, and picks up a satchel. Seems to be well fitted to him, and sort of just walks away. So the reason I put in Ettercaps is because Linton Lamont, he's been having a weird obsession. We've been joking about Ettercaps recently because he follows his Facebook group. I think it's D&D memes. By the way, great group. Great page. Really, really fun, I guess, moderator or admin for that page. Just a lot of fun stuff on it. So we keep joking about there can't be too many. Then there's never enough Ettercaps and all this other stuff. So I finally throw in an Ettercap, and the rest of the players were really happy about that because it's monsters that they haven't really encountered in the game. So I was happy about that I was able to deliver that. And yeah, that was the session. So it's going to be another 2 weeks until the next one, so bear with me if you need to review some of these to catch up. I'll try and do a recap like I normally do. But next up, I will be doing the alternate Stathmore, in which I will be playing, so it's going to be a player's log instead of a DM's log. So that's a first, so take care.